Guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another birthday episode. I'm your high performance coach, Arsenio, as usual. And today is another day on planet Earth. Another birthday on planet Earth. 38 years young on planet Earth. My goodness, I love doing these reflections so much. I do believe that I posted one last year and it was like 40 something minutes like that. But today is a Friday. With all the craziness that has happened over 1 year, I'm just so grateful to be right here on this day, giving you the blessings and everything. And you know what? These are the birthday reflection prompts. Who I became this past year. Guys, it's so important, to be honest with you. It's so important to just journal on a consistent basis, because when life just flashes by and it just goes view, view, view on a consistent basis, you literally just do not feel the day whatsoever. And you have a tendency of just forgetting about all the goodness and all the beautiful life lessons. The people that have come into your life, whether it was just a life-giving relationship, which was like a 1 day, a 1 week, a 1 month, or a purposeful relationship that took you to the next level, but then it just ended up going to another direction. And then, of course, those lifetime friendships in which it doesn't matter what happens between you guys, one's going to bury the other. Like, those are the three different types of relationships. We can use the whole tree metaphor, but that's it right there. So I want to just say, like, the first journal prompt that I came up with was, what pain tried to break me this year? And what strength did I secretly build? Right? And so if I look at everything that happened, okay, and we're going from May. Now, I can tell you guys everything about the craziness, okay, from the earthquake in last March, the February big ass flare ups, and me quitting the corporate training from the last job, and then just completely blowing the fuck up that bridge. And then, April was kind of like a very good renewal, then going into that job. But then it was the whole IVF process. Could I have done better? Absolutely. Doesn't matter, because I got myself a single golden egg right now. That's right. But looking back at that, May, the IVF stress, the toxic work environment, the fear about my wife's thyroid, and like, okay, all right, we got the one single egg. When can we actually do the baby transfer? The betrayal, the disappointment, the exhaustion, the uncertainty, working for that lady, working for that company, HR. And like I said, talking about what has happened to me over the last 2 weeks, it's nothing in comparison to what HR told me at that bullshit ass job last June. You guys can go back to last June and listen to that. It was like, oh, it was this. Oh, it was that. This student doesn't want to come to class anymore because she said that you told her to go downstairs and find a foreigner boyfriend. I said, no, go downstairs and practice your English with a foreigner. You fucking clown. Like, and then July, getting that email from a past individual who I should have never let back in my life. But me just being so nice, hey, you still in Thailand? I want to come out there. And he booked this trip within like 24 hours. And me just like creating this story in my head that when he was going to come, we were going to have the most amazing time ever. And seeing how palpable that energy was when he got outside that gate. And him giving me the high five and us just laughing and all this stuff. Like, it was just up there. The first 4 hours, it was there. And the next 6 days were the worst 6 days of my life. Worst 6 days I've had since probably going to a bullshit ass English camp from a government school back in 2014. Or just Sapporo in general. Okay, Sapporo just happened just earlier that year. But if I look at all that exhaustion, that uncertainty, there were some capacities during those seasons that forced me to develop. The emotional resilience after him and how closer we got in terms of me and my wife and I. Like, how he was saying so many different things, how my wife just kept being, that person that just kept, wanting to do this and all that. And oh my God, man, you have no idea, man. We were jumping just back and forth, back and forth. It was absolute chaos. But the emotional resilience, the leadership, the patience during that time, not giving up, but also just being such a little whiny bitch at times. The boundaries that have been developed over the last 2 weeks, the gratitude. that I've had in my heart throughout these last 5 weeks. The courage under uncertainty. That uncertainty, I'm talking about, what is it, back in June, figuring out that TOEFL, the Indian TOEFL, we're going to just change the test into a Duolingo. I knew I was going to lose all my students. I knew it. So I started looking for jobs in September. And I got two of the most biggest ones out here in Thailand. And then I chose one, and that's where I am right here, right now. Like, I had to develop the courage under the uncertainty, and that uncertainty was terrifying. Considering that January 31st is when we did the embryo transfer, and I'm like, well, at least I got this job, and now I'm doing the onboarding, everything's good. But then I knew that February and March and April were going to be brutal, and thus they were. And now with the work permit card in my wallet, and now being finally all that visa stress completely gone, and I could ban that bullshit ass agent. Wow. That's number one. Number two, the next journal prompt. Which version of myself existed last May that no longer exists today? I think this is one of the bigger ones. Like, how much I had to develop and push myself from last May. The victim, especially at that bullshit ass job. And then next, having 15 students and having just 4 that showed up. And I'm like, dude, if nobody wants to show up, just give these motherfuckers to somebody else, because this is stupid. It was old fears, old habits, old emotional reactions, old identity patterns. And I just said, you know what? I'm no longer going to abandon myself by speaking ill will of myself, catastrophizing, zooming into a problem, amplifying the problem, and punishing myself. I'm no longer going to pee for punish myself. I'm not doing this anymore. After that horrible trip in August, I went into that mindset course, and it changed my life forever. And I started talking and started figuring out things. Okay, how can I do this? Do I live in do I live in a friendly universe, or do I live in a hostile universe? So many things were just going and going and going. I'm like, listen, I got to build this up. I got to focus a little bit more in terms of my emotions, because this is becoming too much. And so the other course that I'm taking right now is stress and overwhelm, which you guys are probably going to hear at some point. I have a tendency of stressing out and overwhelming just based on the things that I create in my mind. These are the exact issues that I have on a consistent basis. And so that number 3 is the next one. What moments this year proved I was stronger than than I realized? I'm talking about those little tiny moments. Showing up to work exhausted, which I have. Supporting my wife emotionally over the last 3 months. Teaching despite the burnout. Recovering mentally after that terrible trip. Refusing to stay bitter is a big one too. And sometimes I could tell you this: strength is often quiet. And so, again, looking back at this past year, the number 4, what did this year teach me about energy, people, and boundaries? I could tell you right now, mentioning that, letting a parasite into my life, that was a very expensive lesson that if I just looked up a couple of things, I could have found that mindset course and could have delved into that very easily. That was a very expensive lesson, but it was priceless. And I can always say, okay, what red flags did I ignore? Parasite. Okay. Wow, there's so many different things that had happened. Again, considering what happened between Christmas and January, that was the best 2 months I've had in a very, very long time. But again, what intuition did I silence? What kind of people drained my future? What kind of people expanded my spirit? And then it kind of just formulates into just standards and boundaries. What standards will I never lower again? What boundaries will I never walk all over again? You got to have high standards for yourself in terms of the people and that inner circle that you have around. You need to have high standards for that intuition and never ignore your intuition. There have been a couple of times where I ignored my intuition while my wife was giving me an opinion, and it ended up proving costly. Not monetarily, but just like in that moment, I'm like, man, I should have done this and not listened to you. No, I did not say that to her, but I know that my intuition is absolutely always correct. Never has it failed me, especially in the most critical moments of my life living in this country 13 years. So that is one thing that I will never silence. However, my intuition did not speak to me when I saw that email. My intuition did not say a goddamn thing when I saw that email. When I saw it, I was just like, okay. And then it was like, all right, he's coming. Okay, there's this. Okay, there's that. Oh, Arsenio, you said a couple of things. Could have been some communication. Didn't happen. You didn't know that he wanted you to pay for absolutely every fucking thing, and he was going to bring nothing in the name of his money here. I kind of just ignored everything and just assumed that he was going to come out here and he was going to have a lot of, a lot of money on hand, and he could pay for his own shit, but he didn't. And that ended up backstabbing me because my wife and I, we came out of pocket. He was living a fucking S-list type of celebrity, and we were basically on a B-list finance. That was horrible. I could have done far better, and that could have made everything different. Well, would the relationship have ended no matter what? Yes, because this guy's the most pompous piece of shit on the planet. But hey, intuition. Got to be very careful. You got to choose your words wisely. So that was the biggest thing, especially in terms of like letting anyone back in. If I even look at what happened just a couple weeks ago, May 1st, my intuition said that these two people I did training with in October for this company, they were so cool. They were so awesome. We hit it off. We had so much fun. And so I said, okay, benefit of the doubt. Okay, we're driving to my house. Oh my God, we're having a blast. Next thing you know, after a little too many drinks, things got real awkward. Next thing you know, she kept just pressing him, saying a lot of things racially speaking. He ended up becoming a shell of himself. And I'm like, oh my God, he ends up looking for a grab all out of nowhere. Didn't say another goddamn word after that. We had to drop him off at the front of the, it was just like, oh my God, no more foreigners. Or was it no more foreigners? Or maybe you should just say, hey, stop giving and listen to your intuition. You don't know them like that. You met them probably 4 times. She was cool when you met her. Those 3 times, fantastic. He was cool when you met him those 2 times, literally back in October. That's probably not how it's going to be. You probably should have met him outside, but I didn't want to travel anywhere. So now you learn. Lesson learned. You see, this is what I love doing. Every single goddamn birthday is reviewing all the little things, because then, of course, I can readjust and reaffirm myself. Number 5, when did I feel most alive this year? First and foremost, the moments of seeing that heartbeat with my wife. The aliveness was incomprehensible. The pregnancy news, incomprehensible. That Christmas season, oh my God. Teaching at my best, just recently. Podcasting and reflecting, absolutely. Astronomy and awe, that's when I feel at my best. I feel like I could leave myself and go into the universe. Feeling connected to the universe in general. Being able to change people's lives and get them those IELTS scores and those TOEFL scores. Making that personal statement and him getting into that university, her getting into that university, this woman getting into that university, us just having a blast in general. So many times I felt so alive this year. Do not ignore those. Very important to journal. Very important. Hell, even just a couple days ago, I felt unbelievably alive. I got a motorcycle taxi to the train station, which is very difficult to get in the morning. And right when I got off, he said, hey, do you normally come here at this time? I could pick you up. I said, oh my fucking God. He said, yeah, I normally do it before 8 a.m. I want to make a little money before I go to work. I said, oh my God, I got myself a personal driver. I call him and then he meets me. I said, man, this is what I'm telling you, when you bring that motherfucking enthusiasm, everything in your life changes no matter what. Now, if you were to say, hey, Arsenio, are you going to bring that same level of enthusiasm to, these kids in the afternoon? Absolutely not. You're crazy. You're fucking crazy. You know what's another boundary? I think another boundary happened probably, I would have to say 2013 or 2014. I was teaching a student. And I said, hey, man, May 15th, I can't teach you. He's like, oh, that's the only day I can learn. And he did not want to move the class. And I said, okay. But then I messaged him and I said, hey, I'm not fucking coming. So I asked another teacher, hey, can you fill him in? Because ain't no fucking way I'm going to look at this piece of shit on my birthday because I'm probably never going to hear from him again. And sure enough, it was correct. Never heard from him again. All that IELTS training, I didn't get one fuck you, one goddamn here's my score, nothing. And you think I was going to spend my time with you on my birthday? Are you fucking nuts? So that's another critical component, making sure the boundaries are everything. All right, making sure they're not all stepped over. Right? Like, well, boundary was just like, okay, when, one doctor, you had a lot of things going on, get ready to go to America. Okay, I can get there by 9:30. I know I can do that, but I can't go to 9. That's my boundary right there. That's my boundary line. You ain't go give me time to do this or do that or do this or anything. I'm good with it. No thanks. And so you have to look at number 6. What fears dominated me this year? And which ones lost power over me? Now, remember, uncertainty, failure. I want to say fatherhood, but finances absolutely number 1. I would have to say that finances was probably the biggest one. And when I was very scared of applying for these big time jobs, I was like, man, what fears dominated me? Well, I applied for this job so many different times. I didn't get one response. Oh, I applied for this job. I had an interview back in 2017, man. That guy never called me back. It wasn't even an interview. It was just like a talk. There was no demo. There was nothing. And now they actually have a process. And I'm like, okay, you're going to have this demo. Okay, you're going to do this. We're going to have this interview. And then we're going to come back for another interview. We're going to do interviews of this department, that department. Okay, you're accepted. Okay, we're going to do this. Like we didn't do that. Was non-existent 9 years ago when I applied for the same company. But did I have that in my mind? Like, Arsenio, are you really going to apply again for them? They didn't accept you last time. But I said, you know what? Maybe that guy is gone. See? Sometimes past fears could dominate us in terms of taking action today. So you need to ask yourself, what fears are dominating you based on past experiences? That's one of the biggest ones. One of the biggest ones. So again, which fear still needs healing? I would say finance. Oh, not really. But I would say relationships, spirit, and probably 2 other categories. They still need that healing, right? In terms of the little micros within those 2. And which fear already lost its grip on me? I think how I see myself, and this is primarily because I am married and stuff, but I could really give a flying fuck about people's opinions of me. I can give you an example of this morning. I got on the train. Some weird girl just kept looking at me. And then I'm just like, I stare out the window when I'm on the train. 17 minutes stand up. Okay, walk around this way. Okay, sit on the train. Don't worry about people who are sitting near me. Ignore those motherfuckers. Okay. The worst one is called a pink line. And that's where a lot of the suburban people are on. And they're no good. Just ignorant as hell. And they're mainly government workers too, because it's the area of government workers. So when I get on, I'm like, okay, let me just stand here, ignore everybody. Don't give a flying fuck about them. Because, and again, we're going to be talking about this, especially this is one of the big things we're going to be talking about next week. It's going to be terms of awakening and that wake-up call. And I think I desperately need it. And there's probably been a lot of, I wouldn't say, probably a lot of vitriol, I want to say in my soul, but it's kind of the feelings that I kind of exert to the, the outside world. And there are many different sub ones that we have to speak about and lots of things that I need to work on. And this is all in culmination to me becoming a father in October. So with that being said, these are some big ones. Those are some of the biggest ones. Number 7, what miracles or blessings almost went unnoticed because I was stressed? Now, because survival mode ultimately blinds us of grace, well, your marriage surviving pressure last August, that's one. Surviving This entire process between February and surviving the first trimester, or surviving the first 6 weeks, never got past 6 weeks and 5 days. Never. When we were on 7 weeks, I'm like, oh my God, we're here. Past the trimester, oh my God. Now we're damn near on, we're on 17 weeks and 4 days. Getting the work permit, emotional breakthrough, spiritual growth, wisdom gain, moments of peace, lessons from the pain. I thought I was falling apart, but I was actually being rebuilt. That could be one right there. That's the miracle in itself. And again, going back to what is non-existent now, if we go back from May to August, okay, ignore all that shit. That was the past. September and October, looking for new jobs, working at a couple new jobs, especially in October. You know, coming back, in November, getting my wife's thyroid connected, and then December being that beautiful month from like, December 10th all the way to like January 25th. That was a huge emotional breakthrough because I was no longer a victim. I was just so happy and free. Hey, what kind of father, husband, teacher, and leader am I becoming right now? So what am I already becoming? The emotional presence, the values that I have, how I want my son to remember me, the atmosphere, absolutely, in my home, making sure I bring no stress. Now that my son has ears and stuff like that, I don't say any bad words anymore around her. I don't bring any stress. I don't bring any negativity. There are probably a couple times that I ran up on that, last week and stuff, and I had to call my wife. But me taking a step back and saying, okay, Arsenio, boundaries time, boundaries. The legacy I want my students to feel for me. You know what that means? That's this past Saturday. I'm like, hey guys, listen, after a couple more weeks, they're going to be switching teachers around here. 3 of the 6 students were like, no, why? Why are we switching? I'm like, oh man, this is how they do it. You can't get too used to me. I totally agree with it. Makes all sense. But I'm like, oh man, it's all good. It's all good. And it's crazy because I just got a private student recently who I taught one time by accident because she was in the wrong room. And guess what? She came back to learn privately with me. That's how my legacy is remembered. To have someone come back and pay to be learned by me, a person who only taught her for 2.5 hours, like 2.5 hours on a day that she wasn't even supposed to be in class. That's legacy driven. That's who will you be remembered as? Always keep like the Martin Luther King Jr., all the bigger iconic figures, especially in the African-American community, at the forefront of everything, because I'm like, damn, he's still remembered to this day and will always ever be. James Farmer Sr., Henry Lowe with an E, James Farmer Jr., Mr. Tolson, the great debaters of Wiley College, Samantha Book with an E. Like, who will you be remembered as? And just know that a lot of people, like I said previously, have gone through the same thing that you've gone through. You're not in this alone. So how are you going to rise up, as I said just previously in Monday's podcast? Number 9, what did the universe, let's say, energy, try to teach me repeatedly this year? Slow down, trust intuition, protect peace, protect space. Stop fucking people pleasing. That's bullshit. I remember going back to, I hate to use the example, but going back to August, like I said, we went to a Michelin star restaurant. Food was absolutely incredible. And I felt really bad for my wife because everything that he ate, and because he was such a pompous asshole, she's like, and my wife loves to ask, how was that? How was that? How was that? How was that? And she does that. She did that with, some of the other people she met, the other foreigners that she met like 3 years ago and stuff. And that's the beautiful good nature of her and her soul. But for him to say, good, 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 stop that people pleasing bullshit. After a while, I said, hey man, eat that shit, shut the fuck up and get out of my face. I ain't never gonna ask you how is anything. You kiss my motherfucking ass. Only the second to last day, when we were at the national park, we were eating in that unbelievable villa, and I was like, oh my god, this is the most insane food ever. And he agreed, and I said, oh, look here, Mr. Asshole agrees. So anyways, stop people pleasing, please. See, me and my wife always tells me, stop bringing all your damn, that you can't give Thai people 100%. She's Thai. Can't give them 100%. Give them 20. You give them 100, the next thing you know, they rip that shit up, they stomp on it, and then you feel all shamed out and feel bad. That's because you keep giving them 100%. Stop it. I said, you know what? You're right. You're right. No more 100%. We can't do this shit no more. And so I ended up saying to myself, okay, no more 100%. I'm giving 20. I'm not going to people please anymore, too. I'm done with this people pleasing bullshit. Okay. What was it? May walked by today and she gave me a real big smile and a wave. And I did the same thing. Whatever you give me, I give you. If you give me nothing, you say nothing, you get nothing. I'm pretty sure that's from a movie. I'm pretty sure. I don't know what movie. It's a black guy too. He's like, you say nothing, you get nothing. You act nothing. Where is that from? Bernie Mac? Anyways, yeah, I think it's from, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Bernie Mac too. Okay, Players Club. I think it's that movie. Anywho, appreciate the wonder of being alive. You heard the shots of awe. Embrace the uncertainty. Sure did, February. Just comparing 2 Februaries. 2 years ago, February, dealing with that horrible ass staff member in that bullshit ass company. I didn't have the student talking time techniques that I do now because I've upgraded myself so much to the point that I'm a fucking beast at this. But at the same time, being walked over and having my boundaries stomped on and hearing people complain and the guy complain, that the main guy was like, oh yeah, I had to contact them and all that. I'm like, oh hell no, you ain't about to lie on me, motherfucker. I sent that email. You kiss my motherfucking ass. Goodbye. Find another teacher. Burn bridges. Compare that craziness in February to last year, February, with the entire, this year, February, with the entire IVF process and the visa process. A totally different life. That's what I love about Thailand so much. Things switch up so quick and you got to be ready to adapt. Got to lead myself emotionally and I got to be much more present. And that number 10, if last year's version before, let's just say May of last year, of me could see me now, what would he be proud of? These are all questions that you can ask yourself on a routine basis or even review it on a routine basis. Imagine you are sitting, I'm imagining myself sitting with Arsenio from February last year. I'm imagining myself sitting with Arsenio in Sapporo of last year. In March of last year, during those 4 fucktards. Remember that? Oh my God, the 4 fucktards from TOEFL. Holy shit, those are the biggest assholes. Imagine myself sitting through those months. What would he be proud of? One that I'm still standing, still strong. That's Antoine Fisher. That's the movie, one of my favorite movie of all time. Marriage intact. Baby boy, finally have one. In February, we didn't even have one. We didn't even get the process started yet. We got one right now. Mindset being completely transformed. New job being paid a ridiculous amount. And my future and that future self finally opening again. See, that's an identity. And the next year of my life is going to be about peace and leadership and fatherhood, vitality, purpose, service, wonder, emotional mastery, spiritual duet. And so the man I became this year, I could divide it into what broke me, what rebuilt me, what I learned, what I refuse to repeat, what I'm grateful for, what I'm becoming next. This is exactly what you could do every single, I don't care if it's the end of the year, or I don't care if it's your birthday, or even a time where you just have to go through a massive reset. This is how you can begin resetting everything. And guys, I just want to say thank you so much because I am finally 38, I guess you could say. It's been unbelievable, but man, I would not change anything that I've gone through for anything because it's been all well worth it. I'm your host as always. Thanks again for supporting the Arsenio's High Performance Podcast. Over and out.